in Leadership Academy, about a year and a half or so ago, when I had joined I think it was the first level of it. It's about 8-week program, half days. It was like 8 to noon on Thursdays. I kind of jumped at that opportunity because even though I had been in a leadership position for several years at that point, like I said, it's not something that you don't stop growing those skills. It's not like I'm a leader and this is how I lead the next 30 years. It's not in the same way. The challenges with the workforce or people leading, they're constantly shifting and changing in that space. And you kind of, as a leader, need to shift with it too. So it was interesting because I wasn't sure what to expect with Leadership Academy. And it was wonderful. So again, even though I've been leading for several years, there were so many valuable takeaways. It was a great resource to me at that time to think back to, okay, I'm leading in this way, but am I thinking of this? Or, ooh, I need to be taking this into account. It further enhanced my leadership skills for sure. I do think it really strengthened my leadership capabilities. I loved coming back to my team each week and going, guess what I learned? Guess what I learned? Let me share this with you. Let's talk about it. We talked about it in team meetings. 5 generations in the workforce. I had 4 of them on my team, my small team of 5 people. There was 4 different generations within that team. And so, we talked about that and motivation. And, I had one going, yeah, this is what motivates me as a boomer. And the other one's going, this is not, as a Zoomer, what motivates me. And that's great to recognize as a leader. And then like DISC assessment, we cover things like that. So then you're dealing with multiple generations, but multiple types of personalities, and how you work together in that organizational space, how all that kind of melds and flows. You address things like accountability, people development, and then you get into nuts and bolts of things in Leadership Academy, even like when a meeting should be an email, because like, oh, that was a great one to cover. I'm like, yes, that's, because we fall into that trap as leaders ourselves. Let's have that quick meeting. And does it really need to be a meeting? No. So it was just a lot of great content for me to be able to take back to my team and my organization and share out. But then, we're influential as leaders. So then I shared it at our team leader meetings. Some of us that have attended Leadership Academy, we've been able to share that out. And so we're helping other leaders in our organizations grow those skills as well.
That's great. And, one of the things we hear from people that have attended Leadership Academy in the past is not only the learning about yourself and how you can lead, but being able to share those ideas with others within the Leadership Academy class and having those conversations. Heard a lot from people about how valuable that has been as well.
Yeah, it was really engaging. So I wasn't sure when I went in, if presentation style or just what the structure of it would be. And I was pleasantly surprised because there was so much. It was literally round tables, but there was that peer-to-peer engagement at the tables and in the class itself. So it was, you do have to be prepared and engaged for every session. You can't just sit there. It's not presentation style. It's not just absorbing or learning on the technical side there. It's having meaningful conversations on, this is a challenge that I'm facing at my workplace, and your peers are helping you navigate and walk through that. And I also felt like it was a very safe space. We have all different industries and organizations in our town represented there. And so, ones that we work with, at Origin. And so it was kind of cool to see, okay, we're not the only ones struggling with that challenge, but I never felt like anything discussed in there left that room either. So it was just that safe space in the aspect where you could actually have meaningful conversations about, I am facing this challenge as a leader, but it wasn't the instructor solving a problem for you either. It was, they might ask questions and help navigate, but you have engagement from your peers to kind of help, hey, I dealt with this before. This is how I handled this.
Yeah, sometimes that's just as valuable, right? Because sometimes as a leader, you're sitting there and you're like, I feel like I'm the only one who's dealing with this exact issue right now. But being able to bounce ideas off of other people and hear that you're not alone can be very validating.
Yeah, it was, and it gave just unique or different perspectives of thinking, where there was a couple times where I'm like, gosh, I didn't think of it from that perspective, or from maybe the employee's lens, looking at it that way. And then there were several times where I felt like I provided value to somebody else, where I could kind of pitch in and offer my suggestions or how I navigated through it. And I felt like they really took that to heart. So it was really cool just to experience that as a group together.
Yeah, I love to hear that. It was a little give and take. You were able to provide for others, but also got a lot of it out of yourself. And I love to hear that you were able to implement some of the things that you were being taught right away, whether it was teaching other people or being able to bring some of those skills back and grow along with the class.
Yeah, it's, and it's not, as you're talking here, I pulled it out today too. I have it. So like this binder from Leadership Academy, it sits on my shelf back there. I pull it open. I reference the content, all of my notes, probably once a month. I still regularly look at it. It's great refresher or reminder, because, as leaders, we come into our office each day, and we, wherever your workspace is, and we get into that day to day. And sometimes we just kind of need to pull our head up a little bit and, hey, yeah, remember, some of these really cool skills and capabilities that we grew. We need to just take that step back a little bit and remind ourselves of those.
Yeah. So there might be somebody listening who maybe hasn't gotten to that point where they've invested in themselves to learn, to continue to learn. They've been on the job for a while. I hear a lot from people that are like, I'm just too busy to take a class. I'm just too busy. I got to get to work. I got all this stuff to do. I don't have the time to do that. What would you say to that person?
I don't want to say that's wrong, but most people will say I'm about the busiest person you will find. Again, full-time working mom, 4 kids. I sit on boards. I volunteer in organizations. I'm a super busy person, and so when the opportunity for Leadership Academy came up, and I heard it was, okay, 8 weeks, 4-hour, 8 to noon, 4 hours, I didn't let that be a deterrent, because for those 4 hours, for those 8 weeks, that time investment is going to pay off tenfold long term. I do recall the first session or two. I had my cell phone by me on the table, and I cannot tell you how many times that thing buzzed during the day from whether it was a coworker or my work. So I did have to go back to the office that first time, and I was like, listen, hey, I'm in Leadership Academy. This is a priority to me. I'm not going to be able to respond during this time. What it did was it allowed people who would maybe normally seek me out for an answer to seek out answers or find a solution from my teammates during that time, which further grows their skills. So
That's cool.
there's a little lesson or a nugget in itself, is that it's giving other opportunities to people to handle things. It doesn't always have to be, me. But so it allowed me that time. That time was really important to me to invest in myself. And so if there's a will, there's a way. You're able to make it work. I didn't, graduate Leadership Academy at the end going, oh my gosh, this was just so much. I didn't feel that at all. It was definitely worth the investment. It's worth the investment in yourself.